Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Chatting Blues. And before we get into today's episode, could you hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and leave a comment in the comment section. And today we've got a couple of special guests on from the Do Not Scratch Your Eyes podcast. And this is something like I wanted to do going forward this season. And two of the guys from the podcast have given their time up and come and talk about Watford. Saves me going and digging out all the stats and the metrics to it. So I'd like to introduce Pete. Hello, Pete. How are you?
Hello, sir. I'm good, thank you. Very good.
Good. And Justin as well.
Hello. How you doing?
Hi, Justin. You okay?
Very good.
So this is something I wanted to do, guys. Just going forward, is put like a surprise question in, and this week's one's going to be. I'll go to you, Pete, first. Is what comes to mind? What springs to mind when you first hear that Birmingham City?
Well, I'm of a certain age, so there's a couple of things. I'm gonna subvert the question immediately. Being of a certain age means the first thing I think about is Trevor Francis. Obviously, very poignant this year and most recently. So obviously, sad and condolences for anybody who knew of him at Birmingham. But I mean, what a player he was! And kind of my prime first time of watching it was watching him go to Forest, and then within months kind of score the winner in the European Cup final, as it was properly called at the time before Champions League nonsense came into view. So that's one. The other thing would be, you keep nicking our good forwards, Paul Furlong, Tommy Mooney, Troy Deeney. I mean, it's becoming habitual. Now, we loved all of those, and they obviously came to you guys, and every time we've spoken to any of them, they've always waxed lyrical about why they came, the atmosphere at the Blues, and they were always three players that we kind of watched lovingly after they've moved on from Watford.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. The Troy Deeney one's a bit. It's a bit split between Blues fans. I kind of sit on the fence as. I don't want to sound really downhearted about it, but he kind of come with this massive ego and just didn't I don't know, it didn't work out basically. But I know he done really well for you guys.
He did enough in about especially 3 seasons in the Championship, but he did enough also in 5 years in the Premiership with us, which basically makes him our most successful captain of all time, if you look at it, because us being in the Premiership is success in itself. But he did enough in those years to kind of walk that walk. In fairness, he's always spoken about his love for Blues, and even when he scored the winner, I remember him throwing in the boots into the crowd. I'm sure it was into the crowd, not at the crowd, because he's he got the tattoo on the leg, all of that. But he'd done it for us. He hadn't done it for you, so you probably saw the ego walking in when we knew that actually, he wasn't really able to cash those checks anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a real shame. It never worked out, to be honest. It was one of them things where it was kind of like it was kind of written in the stars, but it didn't work out. But now, best of luck to him at Forest Green. What about you, Justin? Birmingham City. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind with Birmingham City is the only time I ever visited St Andrews, which was the semi-final second leg of the playoffs in 1999, which we won on penalties, but it was the how should we put it, slightly inhospitable welcome that we had from Birmingham. Lots of things raining down on us from the tier above, all kinds of sharp objects and that sort of stuff, and then not the friendliest walk back to the car. So when I think of Birmingham and St Andrews, that comes to mind. But on happier things, as Peter has alluded to, some of the players that we've shared over the years, Tony Coton is another one that comes to mind. I mean, there's obviously that kind of thing, but I haven't been back, I have to say, since that occasion. I just thought I don't want to go there again.
Well, we aim to please. No, it's all good. So, what do you think of how you started the season, guys? Pete, do you want to start?
Oh, blimey, I mean, we kind of joke immediately because everybody will immediately think it about when are they going to fire their manager? It's been it's been a fortnight, surely, and you're quite right. All of the Watford fans, I think, probably without exception, don't want us to keep changing the manager. And with Valerian Ismail, who people will know from obviously West Brom, just up the road from you guys, but more successfully at Barnsley, when he took them into fifth, having little or no hope in the initial stage. That's obviously the Valerian Ismail we're hoping for. In the last few years, it's impossible to talk about this season, even though it's only been 5 games so far, without talking about the last 2 to 3 to 4 years, because the football has been, oh God, it's been bowel-clenchingly awful. I mean, it's just, you're just watching 11 players, 10 of which happen to have yellow shirts on, who look like they've literally just met and come out and kind of just go, well, we'll just make it up, shall we? That's how it has been. You look at it and go, well, what the hell have they been doing in training? Under Ismail this season, we have seen an identity, we've seen an intensity, we've seen a level of organisation where you actually go, hang on, they're all trying to do the same thing at the same time collectively, and that it's been so awful that seeing that is enough. A lot of people, okay, we're in 18th place, but the football is far better to look at. And the 2 games we've lost to the odd goal. Yes, there are deficiencies in the squad. We haven't done that much in the transfer window in incoming, but we've done a damn good job of getting rid of an awful lot of deadwood. A lot of it from your local rivals, who came in and pretty much stank out the place, to be quite frank. So we've really reduced the wage bill that we've had, because obviously you're carrying a lot of that around after the Premiership, but we've got rid of a lot of the lot that we didn't need. Talking about Troy previously, the thing that we missed the most over since he came to you, there had been an absolute dearth, a complete vacuum of leadership in the dressing room without him, and now we've got a manager who's actually seemingly got a little bit of a grip on the leadership, to the point whereby he dropped from the starting 11. Probably our most iconic player probably would be Imran Louza in terms of potential. He can play. He's a Moroccan international. He's got a fantastic left foot that you could open a can of beans with, and he dropped him because he turned up twice late. And it was like, no, I'm in charge. And everybody looked at it because it was still in the transfer window, going, "Oh, is he trying to cause a transfer move, or is it something?" But no, it wasn't. He was just, no, there's one voice that rules all here, and that's me. End of. We have failed to score until the last game against Coventry, which turned into an absolute circus. It was 3-3. The whole concept of defending for both teams went out the window, and we'd finally signed a forward, a lad called Mileta Rajovic. I'm sure, as with most nice Watford football supporters, you can look forward to seeing him in about 4 years' time in a blue shirt, probably. But he's pretty good. He's a proper box player. He doesn't really come and show an awful lot unless he's got a partner running with him. But because we play 4-3-3, that's not been an awful lot. But we're hoping we've got somebody who does his work in the penalty box, because he got on the end of two non-showy, just get there and be physical, or get there first and score the goal. Because until then, the big problem had been we hadn't scored since the first 45 minutes of the season.
The 4-0 win over QPR. Weren't it? I was just watching earlier this morning, to be fair. I watched the Coventry Watford game, and remind me of his name again, the number 9 who he's just signed.
Mileta Rajovic.
Mileta Rajovic. Okay. He looks a proper striker, doesn't he?
He looked decidedly uninterested in terms of doing all of that work with his back to goal. Until it came in near him, and then he was just, I'm going to get that half yard on you in the box. And then to put that in. And we'd missed that. We've got another forward called Vakun Bio, who as Justin's face would suggest, is hasn't necessarily convinced everybody. But he's another kind of a sniffer, but he just doesn't have the same impact. So hopefully this lad will give us some chances on Saturday.
Yeah, it looks decent, to be fair, from what I've seen of him. Justin, so talk to me about style of play. What are we expecting when we come to Vicarage Road?
You're expecting some fairly high pressing. you're expecting it to be passed fairly quickly. It does look attractive. The football does look attractive, but it's also a little bit suicidal at the back at times. So starting with our goalkeeper, who is being told to play out from the back and to push on and be a bit of a sweeper, not his most comfortable position. You would have noted the own goal that Wesley Hoot scored. You say you watched the 3-3 there, so you would have seen the.
To be fair, just to put you off there, I didn't think the keeper covered himself
No,
in glory.
No, it's not his fault there. It was definitely the pass back from Hoot, I think, that the problem was. But there's little mistakes like that are going to happen this season. So if you can, I think if you can press us and if you can sort of get the ball in fairly quickly to the front, you probably got a fairly good chance of doing something. But like Peter said, it's so much better than the past 2 seasons where people have been doing crosswords and Sudokus and doing their online shopping instead of watching the football because it's been that crap. So it should be fairly high tempo, hopefully, fairly exciting to watch.
Yeah. So you're fairly pleased with him, Valerian and Ishmael?
Well, I think so. I mean, if you look at the results, we've had 1 win, 2 draws, and 2 losses in the first 5 games. 5 points from 15 is that good? Not really, but I think in terms of like what Peter said there with the discipline, the fact that he disciplined Loser and said, "No, you've turned up late for training twice. You're on the bench." It felt as though the players were getting away with murder for the last couple of seasons. It felt as if they didn't care. So I think if he can bring that back, if he can bring back some cohesiveness amongst the squad, then we're going to be fans of Val.
We're not as, whilst we do play forward if we can, we're not as direct as a lot of people will associate under West Brom and Barnsley.
Yeah. I was going to say that.
Yeah, which would see the ball coming in down with snow on it, kind of thing. No, we'll play it, but until we got Rajovic, we didn't have anybody that we could bomb the ball forward to. So it might be something that they might have now as an option if he can get Rajovic playing that way. But as I say, I don't think that's really what he sees as his job. He sees his job as, I want to be in between the 12, between the 12. The 12-yard spot and the goal frame and trying to do that. We play a 4-3-3. There are some innovations that he does with that, whereby both fullbacks will get forward. This is the suicidal stuff that Justin played, or one variant of it. We have 2 different right backs who he'll start and then swap interchangeably. Jeremy and Gakia, when he gets the ball in possession, pushes into the midfield. Whereas Ryan Andrews will bomb forward in a kind of almost an underlapping run, if you like, rather than overlap, because what you'll see is the 4-3-3, we play with wide players. Sometimes they'll hug the outside line. Tom Ince, in this particular instance, came in and played against Cov, but he hadn't been fit until then to really make much of an entrance. So different players playing in the same positions, but playing it differently. And sometimes we've seen that causes us problems as much as it causes the opposition. Haven't quite got used to that yet, so we'll see. And then in the midfield, we play a single CDM, I think is the common part, but basically holding. If we're lucky, then our Chilean centre-back, Francesco Sierralta, who's been a revelation under this stepping up from a centre-back position into that kind of pivot, or defensive pivot, has been really, really good. We've had Jake Livermore step in and we've gone, oh, crikey, why have we bought him? You really miss Sierralta. And then you have 2 8s. And we play those like we play the wingers inverted. So you see left side on the right foot and right side is on the left.
I did look at the lineup against Coventry, your last game, and Tom Ince was on the right of the 3, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But he's left-footed, isn't he? But I'm sure the goal scored.
First goal, he went on his right and pushed it.
Yeah, he went on his right, didn't he? Yeah.
Absolutely. It's been one of the things that on our podcast we do a phone in after games, and we've had a number of people have been saying just uninvert the wingers, even if it's not all the time, because we've had players like Ken Sema, who, if anybody knows Ken Sema, is a big Swedish left winger and he's a unit. He's not dexterous. He's not clever or skillful. He pushes the ball past and then tries to get across his right back if he can. He's been playing on the left. If he cuts in, because he can't go down to the byline because he has no right leg to talk of, let alone right foot. If he cuts in, he hasn't got the capacity to do something clever or skillful. All he's doing is running onto a centre back who's closing down his space, or a defensive midfielder. So on occasions, we kind of funnel ourselves rather than creating the width. We'd love to see us swap a little bit more because that might create a little bit more opportunities from the byline rather than funneling all in the centre in terms of our own attacking intent.
No, I understand what you mean, Pete. Justin, what are you kind of a little bit wary of us? You know, has anything stood out from your perspective of Blues, and have we started the season? Any danger men you're thinking of? Because at the time we're recording, it's 3:15 in the afternoon now, and we're waiting for Big John's press conference to see what players are back. And just quickly on that, everyone is hoping that, well, I am 100%, is hoping that Ethan Laird's back fit, and Siriki Dembele. Nigel Pearson called us lopsided a couple of weeks ago because we've got Ethan Laird on the right back who just bombs, overlaps, underlaps. He's in the box, the opposition's penalty box. He's unreal. Ethan Laird is, honest to God, lads, unreal. And then you got Siriki Dembele on the left of a front four, with the striker at the top and then three behind him, and he just cuts inside. We've got so many attacking options. It seems really strange for Blues because we're really defensive. You know, you probably know yourselves. We're usually pretty solid at the back, and you know, if we can nick something, we'll nick something. But it's been completely different this season. So, but I was going to do my lineup, but I don't. It's a 3-game week, isn't it?
It is a 3-game week. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So I've just got a feeling that he's. So there was both out with hamstrings, and I've just got a feeling he's going to rest them to probably the last game of the. We've got QPR on the Friday night under the lights.
If you face the QPR team we have, you'll have a lot of fun. But they seem to have kind of got their stuff together since they played us.
Yeah,
When we played them, oh my lord, they made us look really good.
Ethan Laird, was he linked with us last year, Peter?
He was. He was a Manchester United, wasn't he? Right wing back.
Youngster, right back. Honestly, unreal. I mean, he didn't have a very good season with QPR last season. Yeah. The season before, he was on loan at Swansea. Unreal.
That was it.
And I was really chuffed when we got him. And Siriki Dembele, we've got loads of good attacking options, but Justin, just quickly, is there anyone you're worried about?
Well, you've come to the wrong man there, because the man with the analysis and all that of other teams is actually Peter. So I'm going to defer to him because he's the guy that would know better than I do about these things.
I think it's interesting because a lot of the transfer market stuff has you setting up as a kind of a 4-4-2. It sounds more like a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting that for the last couple of games you've had like Hogan and Stansfield up the top rather than Jukovic, because I think he'd be the natural one to lead that line, at least in my idea of it. When we were doing some stuff on the transfer window, we wanted Stansfield, not the club, but we were looking at who could we bring in, who might be there. He performed wonders at Exeter City. His father was an Exeter City, as easy for me to say, legend who passed away. And when he went down from Fulham, he scored a hat trick on his debut, had a great season. And one of our local Hornets, but down in local to Exeter, looked at him and said, "Go have a look at this lad. He's really, really good." So we were getting all excited about the possibilities of that. And then, of course, needless to say, see Tommy Mooney, Paul Furlong, and Troy Deeney for details. You went indeed and signed him. So yeah, he looks really good, and of course he's got a couple of goals since coming in, which is very useful. Hogan, for me, Hogan has never been one of the many Brentford strikers to actually kick on. He just seems to be, a journeyman rather than kind of kicking on even occasionally. So that would be that. Ethan Laird, as you say, we saw from QPR last year, and we were in desperate need of a right wing back. This was 12 months and about 18 managers ago, who desperately wanted a right wing back, and Ethan Laird was on the list of people who were made freely available to us.
I thought it was almost a done deal, wasn't it, Ethan Laird? I think we were almost
they were announcing it as a done deal at one stage, and or rather, everybody apart from the club. In fairness to them,
yes,
it just didn't happen, and we just last season we were all over the place because of it. So.
No, honest to God, lads, he's been probably with it. Do you know he's only played about 200 minutes. I think it's 190 minutes. So he started against Swansea, just ripped it up completely. Got took off towards the end with an hamstring. He's got an injury problems, like he's quite injury prone, and so and then I think he missed the next game, then played the next game. He played against Leeds, won a penalty. He's just unreal. Honest to God, unreal. And Dembele as well has got similar with hamstring injuries, but I don't expect them to feature against you, to be honest. But we did bring Cody Drama in as right back from Leeds, and he was a little bit rusty. We played Millwall, it's 1-1, and you could tell he hadn't played. The first half he was a little bit rusty, but he kind of grew to the second half, and a really good cover for Ethan Laird.
That's the Drama who was at Luton last year?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. We don't talk about them.
Yeah, of course, because you that. Yeah.
No, he had a good season last year. I was surprised that they didn't actually come in for him because he was.
Yeah, that was as well.
He balanced. They got Doherty on the left, who was pulling up trees for them, and he was doing. He was holding his own on the right. In fairness to them, as much as it pains me to say nice things about Luton Town. So no, I think getting him's very good, and certainly very good cover. I'm sure that Eustace is quite pleased with that for sure.
Yeah, definitely, lads. Like we've pretty much got two players for every position now. Whereas previous seasons we was all over the place. We didn't have no identity. We didn't know who was playing, and it was half of the stadium was closed down. It was just depressing, and it's just really nice. It's really nice to have a bit of hope. Yeah, that's all you want as a football fan. It's just a bit of hope, and we started the season off really.
Sprinkling of entertainment's always nice as well.
Oh yeah, we're getting it in abundance. Pete talks about Jay Stansfield. He comes on his debut. We only signed him on the Thursday. He comes on Saturday on 80 minutes against Plymouth of all teams, and bangs one in the top corner. So it's really refreshing as a Blues fan. But no, we're running out of time. I understand you lads are really busy, but what I wanted to come on to is so are you feeling confident for this weekend, or and throw a couple of predictions in there, lads, please?
Confident, yeah. I think we are looking better now that we've got this Rajovic. I still can't get his name right up front. I think that was a missing piece for us. I think we were missing a striker, and as Pete alluded to earlier, Bio's not the answer. So I think, having seen us play, I thought well against Coventry. Yes, there were mistakes. It was a 3-3 draw. We threw it away 3 times.
Yeah.
If we can be a bit more clinical, and we can be a little bit harder to break down, then I think we should start winning games. So I've actually got us down to win this week. On our prediction league, well, I always get to go last and everybody else gets to pick scores. I had to go for a 3-1 Watford, which I'll stick with. I think there's goals in the game for sure. So I'll stick with a 3-1. But you hope there's going to be a 3-1, but you never know. With Watford, anything can happen. Last season, I think we beat you 3-0, and that was kind of, where did that come from? You know what I mean? That was, I think, didn't the Sombalonga score off his belly or something?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
What's happened to him, actually? Sombalonga? What's happened to him?
At the door. With all the other ones that kind of like, please flush out the the detritus, he went.
Yeah,
and so there was a big overhaul of our squad. I mean, although we lost gems like Pedro and excess baggage like Sarr, there were the other ones that went as well that we all went, oh, thank God. So I'll go for a 3-1. I'd be interested to see if Peter's as confident as I am.
3-1.
I'm fairly sure the rest of the detritus was a left back that we signed from Udinese at one stage, but never mind. It was So I went for a 2-1 win again, more because what we've got with Ismail is somebody who actually gets the lads on the training ground, and we look better at the start of the season and at the start of the pre-season than after, when we'd had some games. He gets in and he makes a material difference, which is something. We've got a lad also called Georgi Chekfatadze, which is why we all call him Dave.
You have some mad names, don't you, for players? You get some like real foreign face players, don't you? Mad names.
And we're Watford. By the time Justin can pronounce them, they've left.
Exactly. Dave, I like that one. Well, I call him Mike Dave. He's got a mad name. Yeah, go on, carry on.
He's one of those players he can kind of cut in, and he plays on the kind of left as a kind of an inverted either winger or kind of number 8 in modern parlance. And he's a real box of tricks. And if he turns up, then wow, we can really be there. The honest to goodness answer has been the fact that the 2 goals that we conceded in the games prior to last week and last week's have come about typically because of individual errors at the back. And a lot of that is because, like a lot of this, kind of modern coaching kind of thing is, let's all go and try and play like we're Man City. Like right backs pushing into midfield. I mean, but without the 200 million every transfer window to stack that up over a decade. So we will probably end up hurting ourselves, but we'll also have a go at hurting you, which is why it's more exciting, because previously it really was. You may as well have taken a jar of pickled eggs and put that in the middle of the pitch, and we'd have all watched that for 90 minutes. That's what the last one have been. So I'm going to go for 2-1, hoping that Rajovic gives us a little bit more, and that we get a bump, and that hopefully we don't do anything too suicidal at the back. When we don't do that, we look pretty good. But we need to see the results, because otherwise, obviously, even if we're playing nicely, we know that our manager, Mr. Gino Pozzo, already said during the close season, when he was asked the direct question of, well, if he's on 16 points after 10 games, which is what Rob Edwards this time last year got, are you going to fire him? And he went. So it's like, oh, crikey. So a lot of the Watford fans want him to stay, want him to be seen, and want him to be more supported by the club than we saw in the transfer window. So we have to accept that we have a lesser squad technically, but we have a far more coherent squad than we've had, because it's been a little bit like you said previously. It was bloated. We'd have 4 right backs. Now we have 2 and 2 left backs, and neither say both left backs are injured, but do amend.
No, it sounds good. I was having a little research about Watford and stuff like that, and it has been a mixed bag. So you scored 4. We'll finish on this, and I'll finish with my prediction. You scored 4 against QPR, 4-0, weren't it? And everyone was like, "Fuck it,"
In the first half, it was,
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, lads. You haven't scored at home.
You're absolutely correct.
QPR was at home, because it was due to be away. QPR hadn't got their ground sorted out, so that was at home. It was 0-0 against Plymouth, and again, Bio came out of it as this is why we needed to sign a striker. He got put through 1-on-1, and he barely hit the stand behind the goal, let alone the goal itself. But he was working hard. He's as a player, no, we don't actually dislike him, but he's kind of like, oh, come on. And then we had a couple of away games which kind of were 1-0 reverses. 1-0 away loss to Stoke, where again Sierralta wasn't there. Jake Livermore is sitting there saying, I'm a central defender. The advantage of having a central defensive midfielder playing there is he'll drop back in to make a 3 at the back somewhere. He just snuffed that out. The next game we kind of had the better of Blackburn, but they had a great driving through. Again, the another CDM that we have, who really isn't a CDM, again wasn't there, and they just drove through. And the goalkeeper had some he could have done better at the front post. That's the near post. Let's be honest with that. And then we've had the Coventry game. It's 5 games in. It's too.
That was a mad game, weren't it? That Coventry game.
It's mad.
It was just crazy. They've got one, and I think this we've got 2 Achilles heels to this system that we play 4-3-3, where you're getting the fullbacks forward. Is that, as with the goal against us from Blackburn, is if you're piling everybody forward and looking to get bodies in the box and the fullbacks are pushing on, it means you're leaving 2 centre backs at the back. And if you get your racing snakes against them, the ball over the top is an issue, which is why he asked Dan Backman as the goalkeeper to push out, become a deeper sweeper, and kill the space a little bit. And so that's one of the issues. But the other issue is that, again, we're playing this kind of tiki-taka kind of stuff in our own box, and you'll have seen it against Coventry, and it's kind of like
dangerous.
You've got 10 outfield players who spent basically every single day of their lives since they were about 5 trying to learn to kick a ball. And you go, that's great. And then you've got one of them who's done everything since the age of 5 to catch a ball, and then you're asking him to kick it. Your point about the own goal, if you haven't seen it, it's worth seeing, from Wesley Hoot, who basically reversed past the ball and broke 3 cardinal rules of kids grassroots defending, which is, if you're going to pass back to the keeper, don't pass it in the middle of the goal, don't hit it really hard, and try and make sure the goalkeeper's there, because the goalkeeper's being told and being kind of backed up by the manager saying, I'm asking him to play this way. He pushed right out, and and it just wasn't there. So mistakes, when you make them at the back, and if you overplay at the back, will hurt you more. What we need to see is this kind of risk versus reward kind of thing going, no, if you're going to do that, do that in the opposition final third, not in our own.
Just quickly, I was looking at your possession stats, because a typical Valerie and Ishmael side that doesn't have a lot of possession. It's pretty much from the back to the front. I was looking at your possession stats, and you're quite high up. I think you're about 60% compared to our.
We've had, because we're not just hammering it forward. It is being played forward. He has adapted
a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah. But the problem is it's about adapting it to good effect. And the problem was in those other games, we'd have a lot of control, of the ball, but we wouldn't be affecting anybody until we got Coventry and we got Rajovic, and you'd suddenly got somebody who was going to stay up, push up, and being around for the ugly bits and pieces. He's just doing the ugly stuff and stretching the play a little bit, and that gave us a little bit more a chance and opportunity. And for the third goal that he'd just seen, they brought on the aforementioned Bio, who we talked about, and we suddenly had 2 up front in a way, which was nice, because it gave us a plan B.
No, that Rajovic kind of scares me a little bit. I think he's going to have a good season. I know he's had a couple of games, but I don't know, there's something about him. I don't know if it's because we're due to play, and he stood out, but no, he's kind of like a danger man to me.
He's had 1 full game. He came on as a sub, didn't he, against Blackburn?
He came on as a sub against Blackburn.
He just seemed to be in the right places at the right times, just in the Coventry game, and that's what you want.
That's what we want. That's what we've been crying out for. That's really what we've been, and that's why I said to you, I think, if he's on his game, there will be goals.
Yeah. The problem with the Blackburn game, when he came in, again, he was signed on Thursday.
Although I've only seen 1 full game of him, it's one of those players you watch and you think, I think that's the best.
Yeah. That's the impression I got. I thought he's going to do
it. Dipped out there, Pete.
Yeah, sorry. No problem.
No, I was just saying that he just looks like one of them players. I know it's only a small sample size. That he's going to do well. He seems to get in the right positions. But I'm going to give my prediction anyway quickly, because we're knocking on a bit now, lads. So I don't think there's going to be that many goals in it, to be honest. We don't concede many. I know again, it's a small sample, so it's only 5 games, isn't it? But you seem to shoot from everywhere. Like I was looking at some stats and some metrics earlier, and you seem to shoot from everywhere. And it's that old saying, if you don't shoot, you don't score. And but I think we're really defensively sound. I think we're really defensively sound. I don't think we'll concede 2 or 3. I'm going to go for Watford 1, Birmingham 1, and it keeps our unbeaten run going. And I think I speak for most Blues fans that would be happy with that, a 1-1 draw. What worries me is obviously the way we've got the previous results at Vicarage Road, losing twice 3-0. It's a completely different setup. It's a completely different feel around the club. And will we make the playoffs or whatever? And I don't know. It's that old saying, you take one game at a time, and as long as we can keep our manager, who knows? Who knows, But no, I want to thank you both for coming on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you off, and then I'm going to do my formation for the weekend, who I think Big John will pick for the weekend. But thanks ever so much, lads, for coming on. I really appreciate your time. Time is precious, and I really appreciate Justin and Pete. If anyone wants any more information on your channels or to go and have a look at Watford or up to Justin, I'll start with you first. Where can they catch you, mate?
We're pretty much everywhere as DNSYE_podcast. If you put Do Not Scratch Your Eyes into Google, first of all, you'll get a Troy Deeney goal against Leicester in 2013. And then after that, you'll find us. We also have a website. They are, Peter, I remembered it this time, DoNotScratchYourEyes.com. So, yeah, we're pretty much everywhere as Do Not Scratch Your Eyes. Yeah. And thank you for letting us come on and talk to you and to shout ourselves out. It's been great fun.
No, it's a pleasure, Justin. Thanks ever so much, mate. And best of luck for the season, apart from Saturday.
Yep, no problem. And the 16th of March, isn't it, Peter, the next time?
It's 16th of March is the return journey until Sky inevitably, as I said earlier, change it to Wednesday at midnight.
Well, we've just changed one of our games, the Southampton away game, to 12:30 on the Saturday. So
I'm fairly sure there's somebody at Sky basically comes in and goes, I've got the train strike dates. Right, okay, come on, let's change them all.
Yeah. No, thanks ever so much, Justin. I'll remove you now, and best of luck for the season. Best of luck with your channel going forward, and I'll speak to you soon, buddy.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Pete, where can people catch you? Are you on the same?
I've got there's an Uwarns TV if you want to find some vintage football of Watford on YouTube, including a very famous quarter-final FA Cup quarter-final in '84 win for Watford. You probably want to look away.
Everton. That was against Everton, wasn't it?
No, that was against you guys. That was at. Sorry.
I was thinking the FA Cup final against. Did you play Everton in the 80s?
That was the final that season.
Yeah.
We played you in the semi. And
I was there. I was at that game. I was only a young kid, but I was at that game. Packed out stadium, wasn't it? Yeah.
John Barnes put one over the top of Tony Coton, and then the following season we went and signed Tony Coton from you. So it's not all one-way traffic.
Yeah. No, I remember that. I remember that as a young kid. Yeah.
So that's at Uwarns TV. But no, I work with Justin and with Carl, and we do a whole host of things. Everything's kind of there on the podcast. There is also Carl does a match day vlog where he basically goes all around the country, pretty much insulting the entire UK as he goes, which is again DNSYE_podcast on YouTube. We do a post-match phone-in, so if anybody when you're coming back, if you want to, we always say feel free, which is on Twitter Spaces. So that's DNSYE_podcast. So I run that from here after the games, and we get basically everybody to ring in and find out what all the fans thought of the game, and take it from there. So feel free, jump on board.
No, lovely. Thanks ever so much, Pete, for your time, and best of luck for the rest of the season, apart from Saturday.
Yeah, and everybody drive safe if you're coming down. Have a good one.
Yeah, lovely. Thanks, Pete.
Cheers.
Pete. Right then, thanks ever so much for them guys coming on. So what we're going to do quickly now, because this is going on a little bit. So what we'll do is I want to share my screen with you, and we're going to do a formation. So I don't think there's going to be many changes from the Millwall game. Let me just right. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be many changes. We're waiting now for the press conference from Eustace, but I can't see him risking Dembele and Ethan Laird. I can't see him risking. I reckon Dembele and Laird will feature against QPR. Or just because he rushed them back last time, both of them went out with hamstrings. So we'll start with this. Is how I think he'll line up. Ruddy in goal, Cody Drama right back. I don't think Ayew, the new signing centre back, will start. I think Sanderson have done nothing wrong. Long's passing is a bit off, but other than that, defensively sound. So we go for Sanderson and Long centre backs. Buchanan, goes without saying, he starts. Absolutely unbelievable. Billy Kasunjic as a double pivot. There's no one to challenge them. Well, there is people to challenge them, but they're playing unbelievable, especially Ivan Sunjic. And then Anderson had a great game against Millwall, ran himself into the ground, kind of came off I think he came off at the end, last 5 minutes with cramp. Absolutely ran himself into the ground. Really good performance by Keisha Anderson. And then Stansfield as a 10. And the lads mentioned it, actually. Some of these websites are having us as a 4-4-2, and what it does morph into a 4-4-2. If I'm being honest, so Stansfield, Hogan's the main striker, and Stansfield's just everywhere. But at times it's like that, pretty much. But we'll go just with a 4-2-3-1. So Stansfield behind Hogan, obviously Anderson out on the left. And then I was really torn with starting James and Miyoshi. And the reason why I put Bakuna in is because he's played 2 full international games, whereas James has played 1, I think. He's played 1 full one, but I think he didn't play in the other one for Wales. So I think he'll start with James or Miyoshi out on this right-hand side. And like I said like I said earlier, I think it'll be a 1-1 scoreline, and I'm going to go for Keisha Anderson to score the goal. But if you can like the video, subscribe if you're new, leave a comment. Let me know how you're feeling going into this weekend. Like, you're confident? Do you think we'll get a result? Do you think we'll get a draw? Do you think we'll play well? I'm really hesitant, and I think this. I will end on this. I think this is just through being a Blues fan for the last, how it's been for the last 10, 11 years. He's like, we can't go 6 games unbeaten, so it's got to end somewhere. But no, I'll stick with my 1-1 score, and hopefully keep the unbeaten run going. But thanks ever so much for tuning in, guys, and keep right on.